From Southern Maryland's weather leader, this is a JB Weather Alert.
All right, and good evening, everyone. I am forecaster John Bordash with you to give you your update. Not exactly at 6, not exactly at 7. We're cutting the difference here with 6:30, but I'm forecaster John Bordash to give you the latest update here on Tropical Storm Elsa. We are now seeing rain overspreading much of the Tri-County area. We're getting some of those bands of more moderate rain to be moving into the area as well, which is forecasted right around this time. We do have that tornado watch in effect for Calvert County, for St. Mary's County, and for Westmoreland County until 11. And let me actually just show you the graphic on that. I want to go back one more slide. So it's these areas here shaded in red. Again, Southern Maryland, parts of Eastern Virginia, the Tidewater of Virginia, the lower Delmarva. Again, that is going to be in effect until 11 o'clock this evening. The tornado threat is actually the highest down to the south and east of our region. This area here shaded in yellow has an elevated threat, that level 2 threat of seeing a tornado this evening. That's where we're going to be looking at a few weak spin-ups being possible, and we've already seen that be the case so far today. Our region does have a marginal tornado threat. That area shaded in green, so that's southern Calvert, southern parts of St. Mary's County, that level 1 risk. 1 or 2 weak spin-ups, waterspouts, or tornadoes could be possible, but the highest threat's to the south and east. However, it's a non-zero threat, so we do need to keep an eye on that. As we take you back and over towards radar here, let's kind of zoom things out here for a second. Let's see if we can't just get our national radar loaded up here. Let's get our local radar turned off, and let's zoom things out a little bit. And I actually think, because why would something work? We need to switch. Let me switch on over here. Let's turn that on, and we'll wait for that data to load up here. But yeah, it's these areas shaded in red, but that tornado watch. That's that highest tornado threat, and we can see rain is moving into the region. The heaviest is now moving into the Richmond area. So we put this into a loop over the last 3 hours. Let's go ahead and get that loaded up, and we will let that cycle through here. It needs to load all the different frames. We're going to see this. You can see clearly the northeasterly track, and this only has a couple of frames. So again, you'll see this kind of work its way on through here. But we have had a couple of tornado warnings down towards southern parts of Virginia near the Suffolk area, then down into parts of northeast North Carolina near the Outer Banks as Elsa continues to spiral through. This heaviest rain will begin to move into the area later on this evening, probably around 10, 11 o'clock, maybe as late as midnight for some of you. Our latest model data has been suggesting that Elsa might actually have a little bit of a difficult time trying to keep the moisture on the western side of the storm, and which is it's a little weird for me to think because of the current radar presentation. It looks like it's having no issue with that. We'll see though. Couple of our models have kind of backed up on the rainfall potential across our region. Nevertheless, I do still think, regardless of the amounts, the heaviest rain will be in southern parts of Calvert and St. Mary's County. I think at least an inch or 2 is likely there, but I still think you could probably see some spots like at 2, 3, maybe even 4 inches of rain in those spots, but you're going to see a quick and sharp cutoff to the north and west, and that's kind of what we've been talking about. And so for all the questions I'm sure that are filing in about what's my house going to see, what's my area going to see, this was the forecast. Let me bring you forward here through the graphics. This is what we were looking at for that rainfall forecast. So I think regardless, that orange shaded zone is probably going to still see the heaviest rain. Maybe the forecast should be a little bit more like 1 to 3 instead of 2 to 4. However, I do think, again, we could be looking at 2, 3, and 4 inch amounts in that area. And locally, that is where the heaviest rain will fall. Southern Calvert County, southern parts of St. Mary's County. Again, amounts taper off. Once you get to 301, you might be looking at most half an inch of rain. And by the time you get to I-95 and on over towards northern Virginia, you're looking at very little in the way of rain on out that way. So it's going to be very interesting to see how all of this plays out. It's going to be a situation that we're going to continue to look at as it continues to unfold. Showing you the future cast here, which just kind of runs on its own time, so we'll let this loop through here. What you'll see is It depicts rain moving into the area right around now, not too far off on its depiction here. And then by about 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, that's where you start to see those heavier areas of rain moving. And it really is centered in those same areas we've been talking about the last couple of days, southern Calvert, southern St. Mary's County. And the amount of rain we see really is kind of dependent on how far west Elsa is able to make it. But Elsa is actually already strengthening. It's strengthening over land, which is a little weird, thanks to some upper atmospheric forcing mechanisms. But it does now have winds of 50 miles per hour. So our Atlantic beaches, if you have any interest over towards Ocean City, Rehoboth, then towards Chickatie, down towards Virginia Beach, those areas down there along our Atlantic beaches, even up into New Jersey, likely to see some gusty winds up to 50 to 60 mile per hour. 50 to 60 mile per hour gusts, and that's where we're going to be looking at some heavy rain as well. So we will continue to watch that threat as it continues to move in. But just taking it back here to radar quickly, just to kind of give you an idea really of how things have been loading up here. And I think we're going to do this thing again where it wants to load one frame at a time. That's fine. I don't need to wait all that time. We'll just get our local radar loaded back on here. And yeah, you can see the heaviest rain is still down towards Richmond. And over the last hour, this one should load a little quicker for us. There we go. You can see we're getting these individual heavier bands kind of setting up. Right now, we kind of have one, if we can get the pen tool loaded up here. We have one, right here that's just moved through Chesapeake Beach. So this would be one band. Up and through here, we have another band getting near Prince Frederick. This would be another one. This generally would be another band, and everything is kind of moving this way, kind of dying off as it moves to the west, but this is going to be the way that everything's moving throughout the region, so we are already getting some of those bands. A more moderate rain getting into the area right now, so we will continue to watch that, and I really do think the area that is probably the most likely to see the highest impacts, it's going to be this area down in here later on this evening. So that would be from Lesby, Solomons, Lexington Park, Callaway, Dameron, Scotland, that region. Probably going to see the heaviest rain, some of the gustiest winds, and then we quickly taper off as we move up into this region of Huntingtown, Hughesville, Allens Fresh, Waldorf. That region, not going to be seeing as much. It was actually a little funny. I was watching one of the local news stations back in D.C. a little bit ago, and they had a reporter in Southern Maryland, and their version of Southern Maryland was going, I think it was like Chesapeake Beach. Not saying that Chesapeake Beach is in Southern Maryland, but that's A, not where the worst of the weather likely is going to be in Southern Maryland, and B, there are many more locations further south. And some I would argue that might even look a little bit better, but that's just my personal opinion. But we'll continue to watch this. And I just glanced over, I see Robert wants to know, will winds also be less in Lower Calvert? No. Lower Calvert will see some of the higher wind gusts across our region. Let's turn all of this off, see if we can't just get... First, just how winds currently are looking across our area. Right now, we're seeing wind gusts upwards of 20 miles an hour. And as we push this forward into the future, let's just take Futurecast here. Let's take it towards... We're first going to get the wind gusts loaded up here. But if we just take this, right towards 10 o'clock, I mean, wind gusts 20 to 30 mile an hour likely. But some of those highest wind gusts, up along those Atlantic beaches like we've been saying, and our model here, so this isn't live radar, it didn't really have the energy to change it too much. You can see, our model is really, it really doesn't want to get rain too much further north than about here. And this would be right around 10 o'clock, and then kind of fills us out a little bit, so we'll see. But I do indeed think we'll see, scattered rain, locally heavy rain, especially in southern parts of Calvert and St. Mary's County. But that is everything I have for you at the moment. We're going to continue to watch how things play out. We'll do another one of these updates probably in the next hour and a half or something like that, as we watch everything kind of come together. Again, we're already starting to see some of these bands, and we have some of this heavier rain down here, down towards the south in the Richmond area and central Virginia. That'll be moving up over the next 2 to 3 hours. So stay weather aware and keep it tuned right here to JB Weather for the latest information. I will be here all evening to keep you ahead of the storm and give you the latest information. I'm a nice and safe one, and keep it tuned right here.
Check the forecast anytime online at jbweather.net.